Have you ever stopped to think that that simple jar of oats at the back of your pantry could be the key to a longer, healthier life? Many of us grew up associating oats with an old-fashioned, bland, and monotonous breakfast. But behind this unassuming appearance lies one of the most powerful foods for those who want to age with vitality and energy. Maria Helena, 63, a retired teacher from Ribeirão Preto, never imagined that such a simple grain would completely change her relationship with her own health. At 58, I was diagnosed with high cholesterol and prediabetes. My doctor was emphatic. Either I changed my eating habits, or I would start taking a long list of medications for the rest of my life, she says, her eyes shining with determination. That's when her nutritionist suggested adding oats to her daily diet. At first, I thought it would be a sacrifice, just another one of those recommendations that are hard to follow. But I decided to give it a try. 6 months later, Maria Helena returned to the doctor's office with results that surprised even her cardiologist. Her LDL cholesterol had dropped 15%, her blood sugar was under control, and she had lost 15 pounds without going on a restrictive diet. My doctor asked me what my secret was, and I replied, an ancient grain that revolutionized my health. Maria Helena's story is not an isolated case. Science has proven, study after study, that oats are one of the most complete and beneficial foods for people over 55. But what exactly makes this cereal so special for this stage of life? As we age, our bodies face specific challenges: a slower metabolism, increased risk of cardiovascular disease, loss of muscle mass, changes in the gut microbiota, and imbalances in blood sugar levels. It is precisely in this scenario that oats emerge as a true ally for longevity. Dr. Claudia Mireles, a specialist in geriatric nutrition at the University of São Paulo, explains, oats contain a soluble fiber called beta-glucan, which has the unique ability to form a kind of gel in the intestine. This gel acts as a barrier, reducing cholesterol absorption and regulating the release of sugar into the bloodstream. It's like having a smart filter system inside your body, but the benefits go far beyond that. Oats are an exceptional source of high-quality vegetable protein, containing all the essential amino acids our bodies need, which are especially important after age 55 when muscle preservation becomes a priority. In addition, it is rich in antioxidants called avenanthramides, unique to this cereal, which fight inflammation and oxidative stress, two factors directly linked to cellular aging. It's as if each spoonful of oats is a dose of preventive medicine, compares Dr. Ricardo Monteiro, a cardiologist at Albert Einstein Hospital. However, unlike conventional medications, it has no side effects, only complementary benefits. You may be thinking, if oats are so powerful, why haven't I felt these benefits before? The answer is simple. It's not enough to just consume oats. The secret lies in how you prepare it, combine it, and incorporate it into your daily routine. Think of oats as a high-quality musical instrument. In the hands of a beginner, it produces pleasant sounds. But in the hands of a conductor who knows all its possibilities, it becomes a complete orchestra of health benefits. Throughout this journey, I will share with you the 7 fundamental choices that transform the simple act of eating oats into a powerful strategy for extending your years of quality life. These are small daily decisions that, when combined, produce extraordinary results in your cardiovascular health, weight management, muscle strength, and brain vitality. The first step to unlocking all this potential is extremely simple, and you can implement it right away. Start with just 2 tablespoons of thick-cut oats every day. It can be for breakfast, as an afternoon snack, or even incorporated into a savory meal. The important thing is consistency. As Maria Helena says, it's never too late to start. At 63, I have more energy and health than many friends 10 years younger. When people ask me what my secret is, I answer with a smile, start with small, consistent changes. Oats were mine, what will be yours? In the next few chapters, we'll explore each of the 7 choices that maximize the benefits of oats for people over 55. Get ready to discover how a seemingly simple grain can become your greatest ally in the quest for longevity and vitality. Have you ever wondered why, even when eating foods considered healthy, such as oats, some people are unable to control their weight or improve their health indicators? The secret may be hidden in a simple spoonful of sugar. Our first big choice when it comes to oats is crucial. Prioritize their natural flavor and resist the temptation to turn them into a dessert disguised as a healthy breakfast. Carlos Roberto, 67, a retired civil engineer from Florianopolis, had a daily ritual that he considered extremely healthy: a generous bowl of oats every morning. I was proud of my nutritious breakfast. I would add oats, 2 large spoonfuls of honey, brown sugar, and fruit and syrup. I was convinced that I was doing something excellent for my health, he recalls with an ironic smile. Despite his daily oats, Carlos did not understand why his blood sugar remained uncontrolled and his weight gradually increased. It was during a consultation with a nutritionist that he had a surprising revelation. She calculated that I was adding almost 30 grams of sugar to my oatmeal every day. That's more than the recommended total daily sugar intake. I was basically negating all the benefits of that valuable cereal. What happens in our bodies when we add too much sugar to oats? Dr. Fernando Oliveira, an endocrinologist and researcher at the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, explains, when you add large amounts of sugar, honey, or syrups to oats, It causes a rapid spike in blood glucose. Your pancreas responds by releasing a large amount of insulin to process that sugar, which creates a cycle of highs and lows in your energy throughout the day. Over time, this pattern overloads your metabolic system and can accelerate the development of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, conditions that become much more common after age 55. This glycemic roller coaster is particularly problematic for mature individuals, as metabolism naturally slows down with age, making it harder for the body to process large amounts of sugar. In addition, insulin spikes promote chronic low-grade inflammation, a factor directly linked to accelerated aging and the development of degenerative diseases. It's like putting low-quality fuel in an old car, compares Dr. Mariana Campos, a nutrition and longevity expert. It may work for a while, but in the long run, it causes damage to the engine that could easily be avoided with smarter choices. The good news is that there is a simple way to maximize the benefits of oats without sacrificing the pleasure of eating them. The key is to use the power of fresh fruits, spices, and preparation techniques that enhance the naturally sweet flavor of the oats themselves. When Carlos learned to appreciate the natural flavor of foods, a remarkable transformation took place. I started using mashed ripe banana, cinnamon, and a little vanilla extract in my oats. At first, I missed the intense sweetness, but after 2 weeks, my taste buds adjusted. The most impressive thing was how my energy stabilized. I no longer had that mid-morning slump, and within 3 months, my blood sugar was back to normal for the first time in 6 years. This result comes as no surprise to experts. Fruit adds natural sweetness, fiber, and antioxidants that fight oxidative stress, while cinnamon not only adds flavor but also contains compounds that help regulate blood sugar. It's a perfect combination for those seeking vitality after 55. Want to take the first step toward turning your oats into a powerful ally for longevity? Try this simple strategy. Gradually replace refined sweeteners with natural alternatives. Start by cutting the sugar in half and adding half a mashed ripe banana to your oats. Each week, reduce the sugar a little more until you eliminate it completely. A gradual transition is essential because our taste buds need time to readjust. As Dr. Patricia Mendonça, a neuroscientist specializing in eating behavior, explains, the human brain has been evolutionarily programmed to seek out sweet foods, which in nature indicated safe sources of energy, but we can recalibrate our taste receptors in about 21 days, allowing us to appreciate more subtle and natural flavors. Carlos Diaz, who now enjoys vibrant health at 67, shares some valuable advice. Notice how you feel 2 hours after breakfast. If you're hungry again or feeling a drop in energy, your body is probably reacting to a sugar spike. Try cutting back on sweeteners for a week and notice the difference. That's how I realized I was on the right track. This first choice, prioritizing the natural flavor of oats, sets the stage for all the other decisions that maximize their benefits. It's like clearing the ground before building a solid house. By respecting your body's glycemic balance, you not only improve your metabolic health in the present, but you invest in additional years of vitality and independence. In the next chapter, we'll explore the second fundamental choice, selecting the right type of oats, a decision that can exponentially multiply your cardiovascular health benefit. Imagine you've decided to invest in a car for long trips. Would you choose a basic model with a limited engine, or would you opt for a robust vehicle designed specifically to travel long distances safely and efficiently? When it comes to choosing the type of oats, we're faced with a very similar decision, especially for those over 55 who are looking to protect their heart, the engine that keeps their life moving. Antonio Ferreira, 72, a retired accountant from Belo Horizonte, learned this lesson the hard way. After I turned 65, my doctor started to worry about my cholesterol. The numbers were going up with every test, and he told me I needed to change my diet urgently or I would have to start taking statins for the rest of my life, he says. Following his doctor's recommendation, Antonio started eating oats every day. I bought those boxes of instant oats. You know, I thought I was doing everything right. It was convenient, quick, and tasted good. I made it part of my routine for 6 months. However, when he returned to the doctor's office for new tests, he was very disappointed. His LDL cholesterol had only decreased marginally, far from the expected result. That's when his daughter, a nutritionist, came to visit him and noticed the type of oats he was eating. She practically ripped the box out of my hand, he recalls with a laugh. She explained that I was consuming the nutritional equivalent of white bread, overly processed and with much less fiber than I needed to really make a difference in my health. But what exactly is the difference between the types of oats available on the market? Dr. Regina Macedo, a cardiologist specializing in preventive nutrition, explains, oats in their most natural form undergo a minimal cleaning process to remove the inedible husk. The more processing that happens after that, the more nutrients and benefits are lost along the way. Thick or traditional rolled oats keep the grain virtually intact, preserving its soluble fiber-rich structure, especially beta-glucan, the most valuable component for cardiovascular health. Beta-glucan acts as a kind of sponge in the intestine, explains Dr. Macedo. It literally binds to cholesterol molecules in food and bile, preventing them from being absorbed by the body and facilitating their elimination. In contrast, instant oats undergo additional cooking, drying, and grinding processes that break the grain into very small particles. This not only significantly reduces the fiber content, but also alters the structure of beta-glucan, decreasing its effectiveness. It's like the difference between a slow-release medication and an immediate-action medication, compares Dr. Paulo Sergio, a gastroenterologist at the Federal University of Paraná. Less processed oats release their nutrients gradually, providing sustained benefits for hours, while the instant version is quickly digested, generating less satiety and a more limited impact on cholesterol levels. Recent studies conducted by the Paulista School of Medicine have shown that people over 60 who consumed thick oat flakes for 12 weeks had an average reduction of 8% in LDL cholesterol, while the group that consumed the same amount of instant oats had a reduction of only 3%. When Antonio replaced his instant oats with thick flakes, the results were remarkable. In just 3 months, my cholesterol dropped 15%. My doctor couldn't believe that the only change was the type of oats. He even asked if I was taking any medication on my own, he says, proud of having avoided medication. Beyond the impact on cholesterol, choosing the right type of oats has additional benefits that are particularly important after age 55. Less processed oats contain more B vitamins, which are essential for neurological health and energy production, and minerals such as magnesium and potassium, which are key for regulating blood pressure. It's as if nature has created a complete cardiovascular care package in a single grain, notes Dr. Macedo. But we humans, in our eagerness to make everything faster and more convenient, have ended up dismantling this perfect design. Want to take a decisive step toward protecting your heart? Here's a practical strategy. Make a gradual transition to less processed oats. If you're used to the instant version, start by mixing half of it with thin flakes, which are a middle ground in processing. After 2 weeks, replace it completely with thin flake oats. For the next 2 weeks, mix half thin flakes with thick or traditional flakes until you finally switch completely to the less processed version. The texture is different, more consistent, and the preparation time is a little longer, admits Antonio. But I discovered a trick. I soak it in the refrigerator overnight. In the morning, just heat it up quickly, and it's perfect. 5 extra minutes of preparation in exchange for extra years of heart health. For me, it's the best investment I make every day. For those concerned about taste, Dr. Luciana Viana, a chef specializing in functional gastronomy, offers a valuable tip. Lightly toast the thick oat flakes in a dry frying pan before cooking them. This releases natural oils that intensify the flavor, creating almost buttery notes that make the oats tastier without adding sugar. By consciously choosing the right type of oats, you are not just consuming a food, you are investing in a daily strategy for cardiovascular protection, especially crucial after age 55, when risk factors naturally increase. In the next chapter, we'll explore the third fundamental choice, the strategic combination of oats with high-quality protein, a decision that can make all the difference in preserving your muscle mass and functional independence as you age. Have you noticed how, over the years, tasks that once seemed simple, such as climbing stairs, lifting shopping bags, or playing with your grandchildren, begin to require more effort? This is not just an impression. After age 55, our bodies face a natural biological challenge called sarcopenia, the progressive loss of muscle mass that, if not combated, can significantly compromise our independence and quality of life. This is where our third fundamental choice comes in, transforming your serving of oats into a powerful muscle preservation tool through strategic combination with protein. Sergio Lima, 68, a retired university professor from Porto Alegre, has always been an active man. Daily walks and gardening were part of his routine. However, at age 65, he began to notice worrying changes. Suddenly, carrying plant pots around the garden became a challenge. My wife noticed that I was avoiding climbing the stairs in our house, preferring to take the elevator. That's when I realized something was wrong, he recalls. Concerned, Sergio sought out a geriatric doctor who diagnosed the onset of sarcopenia. The doctor explained that I was losing muscle mass at an accelerated rate and that if I didn't act quickly, in a few years, it could compromise my independence. It was a shock. I always considered myself a healthy person, he says. Dr. Beatriz Montero, a specialist in geriatrics and longevity, explains that sarcopenia is a natural part of aging, but its speed can be drastically reduced with the right strategies. After age 50, we naturally lose between 1% and 2% of muscle mass per year. This means that by the age of 70, many people have already lost up to 40% of their muscle strength compared to when they were 30. The good news is that we can significantly slow down this process with 2 simple interventions: regular physical exercise and proper nutrition, especially sufficient protein intake combined with complex carbohydrates. And this is exactly where oats, when strategically combined, become an extraordinary ally. Dr. Marcelo Vasconcelos, a sports nutritionist specializing in aging, explains, oats alone are already an exceptional food, containing about 15% protein in their natural composition, more than any other common cereal. However, when we strategically combine oats with other complementary protein sources, we create what we call the anabolic synergistic effect, an ideal condition for muscle protein synthesis, especially important after age 55, when our bodies become more resistant to this process. It was by following this principle that Sergio transformed his traditional morning bowl of oats into a real muscle preservation tool. My doctor referred me to a nutritionist specializing in healthy aging. She designed a simple plan: keep my daily oats, but always combine them with a high-quality, easily digestible protein source. In just 4 months, I regained a significant amount of my strength and, most importantly, halted the accelerated muscle loss process. But how exactly does this combination work on a biological level? Dr. Carolina Mendez, an exercise physiologist, offers an enlightening explanation. Our bodies need essential amino acids, especially leucine, to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. After age 55, we need approximately 40% more protein to activate the same level of muscle building as a young adult. When we combine oats, rich in complex carbohydrates that provide sustained energy, with complementary protein sources, we create an ideal metabolic environment for muscle preservation and rebuilding. Recent studies from the Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul have shown that adults over 60 who regularly consumed combinations of complex carbohydrates and high-quality protein experienced 63% less muscle loss over 3 years compared to those who consumed the same calories but without this strategic combination. Want to turn your oats into a powerful muscle-preserving tool? Here's a practical strategy. For every 40 dri serving of oats, approximately 4 tablespoons, add at least 15 dri of high-quality protein. This can be achieved in a variety of ways. 100 waters Greek yogurt, approximately 10 dri protein, plus 1 tablespoon chia seeds, 3 g, plus 1 tablespoon peanut butter, 4G, 2 chopped hard-boiled egg whites, approximately 8 dri, plus 30 grind cottage cheese, 7 dri, 3 tablespoons of whey protein, approximately 15 to 18 dri, 100 grain of soft mashed tofu, approximately 8 dri, plus 2 tablespoons of tahini, 5G. The secret is consistency, shares Sergio. At first, I thought it was strange to add egg whites to my oats, but I soon discovered that when mixed, while still warm with cinnamon and a little vanilla, you can hardly taste them, and the benefits are immense. Today, at 68, I can climb stairs again without difficulty and carry my plant pots with ease. I have regained my independence. Dr. Montero adds a valuable tip. To maximize the benefits of this combination, consume your protein-enriched oats preferably after some physical activity, even if it's just a light walk or simple resistance exercises. At that point, your body is more receptive to muscle protein synthesis. This third choice, strategically combining oats with complementary proteins, represents a daily investment in your strength, independence, and functional capacity. It's a decision that goes far beyond nutrition. It's a commitment to your autonomy in the years to come. In the next chapter, we will explore the fourth fundamental choice, mastering oat quantities, a critical factor in balancing their nutritional benefits with calorie control, which is essential for weight management after age 55. Have you ever heard the expression, too much of a good thing can be bad for you? When it comes to healthy eating after age 55, this popular wisdom has surprising scientific backing. Our fourth fundamental choice when consuming oats involves a concept that is rarely discussed but absolutely crucial: mastering quantities. Because yeah, even a superfood like oats needs to be consumed in the right proportions to maximize its benefits without compromising your calorie balance. Lucia Mendonça, 59, a business administrator from Curitiba, discovered this truth in the most frustrating way. When I read about all the health benefits of oats, especially for cholesterol and weight control, I was excited. I started including generous portions in my breakfast, afternoon snack, and even mixed them into smoothies and soups, she says. I was convinced that the more oats, the better the result. 3 months later, Lucia was disappointed. Although her cholesterol had improved slightly, she had gained almost 2 pounds, exactly the opposite of what she had hoped for. It didn't make sense to me. I was eating a supposedly healthy food and gaining weight. I almost gave up on oats completely. Dr. Eduardo Santos, a nutritionist specializing in metabolism and aging, explains that this is a common misconception. There is a phenomenon we call the healthy food halo effect. When we identify a food as very beneficial, we tend to believe that we can consume it in unlimited quantity. However, oats, despite all their benefits, are a calorie-dense food. Each 100 grain contains approximately 370 calories, not counting accompaniments. This is particularly relevant after the age of 55, when our metabolism naturally slows down. Studies by the Brazilian Society of Endocrinology and Metabology indicate that after this age, the basal metabolic rate decreases by an average of 1 to 2% every decade, mainly due to muscle loss and hormonal changes. It's as if your body's fuel tank gets a little smaller every year. You need to be more strategic about what you put in it, compares the expert nutritionist Dr. Renata Vasconcelos, adds an important perspective. Oats are extremely nutritious, but they are primarily a complex carbohydrate. For mature people, especially those with a tendency toward insulin resistance or who are seeking weight control, the amount of total carbohydrates consumed daily is a critical factor to monitor. When Lucia sought professional guidance, she discovered that she was consuming almost 100 grams of oats per day, more than twice the recommended amount for women of her age and level of physical activity. The nutritionist explained to me that I was adding almost 400 extra calories daily from oats alone, not counting the milk, fruit, and other ingredients I combined with them. For someone with a slower metabolism due to age, this excess easily translates into weight gain, she recalls. Dr. Camila Noguera, an endocrinologist specializing in mature women's health, offers a scientific explanation. After menopause, women experience a redistribution of body fat, with a tendency to accumulate in the abdominal region. This is not just a cosmetic issue, but a significant risk factor for cardiovascular and metabolic diseases. Therefore, calorie balance becomes even more crucial at this stage of life. But what is the ideal amount of oats to maximize their benefits without compromising calorie balance? Experts are unanimous. For most adults over 55, a daily serving of 40 to 50 grams of dry oats, approximately 4 to 5 tablespoons, is sufficient to obtain all the benefits of beta-glucan for cholesterol and cardiovascular health without overloading the system with extra calories. It's important to understand that the benefits of oats do not increase linearly with quantity, explains Dr. Santos. Studies show that 3 grams of beta-glucan daily is enough to significantly reduce LDL cholesterol. This amount is present in approximately 40-50 grams of rolled oats. Consuming twice that amount does not double the benefits, but it certainly doubles the calories. After adjusting her portions, Lucia experienced a remarkable transformation. I reduced my intake to 40 grams of oats per day, the equivalent of 4 tablespoons, consumed exclusively at breakfast. In just 1 month, I lost the 2 pounds I had gained. And, most surprisingly, my cholesterol levels improved even more, even though I was consuming less oats than before. Want to master the art of ideal oatmeal portions? Here's a practical strategy. Invest in a digital kitchen scale, available at affordable prices, and hajut for a week. Weigh your oatmeal before preparing it. You'll be surprised to discover how misleading our visual perception of quantity can be. Set a goal of 40-50 grams per day and distribute that amount however you like throughout the day. A valuable tip is to prepare individual portions in advance, suggests Lucia. Every Sunday, I separate 5 small jars with the exact amount of oats for each day of the week, already mixed with cinnamon, chia seeds, and a little cocoa powder. In the morning, I just add the liquid and heat it up. This eliminates the risk of overdoing it when I'm in a hurry or hungry. Dr. Vasconcelos adds an important recommendation. For those who exercise regularly and have higher caloric needs, the portion can be adjusted to up to 60 grams. The important thing is that oats represent a balanced part of your total daily carbohydrate intake, not an addition to what you already consume normally. This fourth choice, mastering the ideal oat portions, represents a delicate balance between getting all the benefits of this superfood and respecting the specific metabolic needs of this stage of life. It is a decision that honors the fundamental principle of healthy nutrition, balance in all things. In the next chapter, we'll explore the 5th fundamental choice, the technique of prepping oats, a simple method that dramatically enhances the absorption of minerals essential for bone health after age 55. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to reap all the benefits of the healthy foods they eat, while others, even following similar diets, don't get the same results? The answer may lie not only in what we eat, but in how we prepare what we eat. Our 5th fundamental choice reveals an almost forgotten but scientifically proven ancient secret: soaking oats before consumption, a simple technique that can exponentially multiply their nutritional benefits, especially after age 55. Geraldo Mendes, 67, a retired civil engineer from Salvador, has always been a methodical man who takes care of his health. When I turned 60, I started to experience joint pain and constant fatigue that I had never experienced before. Tests showed deficiencies in calcium, magnesium, and iron, even though I had been eating a seemingly balanced diet that included oats every day for years, he reports. It was during a consultation with a nutritionist specializing in functional medicine that Geraldo had a surprising revelation. The doctor explained that I could be eating all the right foods, but preparing them in a way that didn't allow me to fully benefit from their nutrients. It was like discovering that I had been driving a luxury car for years, but only using first gear. Dr. Tiago Monteiro, a specialist in nutritional biochemistry, explains the phenomenon. Oats, like other grains, naturally contain substances called phytates or phytic acid. These compounds act as a natural defense system for the plant, but for us humans, they function as anti-nutrients, molecules that bind to essential minerals such as calcium, zinc, iron, and magnesium in the digestive tract, preventing their absorption by the body. This issue becomes particularly critical after age 55, when the efficiency of our digestive system naturally declines, and the need for certain minerals increases. Dr. Luciana Pinto, a geriatrician at the Federal University of Bahia, provides context. Bone density begins to decline significantly after age 55, especially in postmenopausal women. At the same time, stomach acid production decreases, further compromising our ability to extract minerals from food. It's a perfect storm that can contribute to osteoporosis, chronic fatigue, and a weakened immune system. The good news is that there is a simple solution, tested by millennia of traditional wisdom and now validated by modern science. Soak oats before consumption. When we soak oats in water for at least 8 hours, We activate enzymes naturally present in the grain called phytases, explains Dr. Montero. These enzymes break down phytates, releasing minerals so they can be properly absorbed by our bodies. It's like unlocking a treasure chest full of nutritional gems that have always been there but were inaccessible. Recent studies conducted by the University of São Paulo have shown that the simple practice of soaking oats for 12 hours can increase the bioavailability of zinc and magnesium by up to 300% and calcium by approximately 240% for people over 55. This increase in mineral absorption can have profound impacts on bone health, muscle function, sleep quality, and immune function. When Geraldo implemented this technique into his routine, the results were remarkable. I started soaking my oats every night before bed. In just 3 months, my mineral levels improved significantly, my joint pain decreased, and my energy returned to levels I hadn't experienced in years. The most impressive thing is that I was eating exactly the same foods as before, just prepared differently. In addition to increasing mineral absorption, the process of soaking oats has additional benefits that are particularly relevant after age 55. This preparation method initiates a process similar to germination, which increases the antioxidant and B vitamin content in oats, HAR, explains Dr. Carla Suarez, a nutritionist specializing in integrative nutrition. It also makes the grain more digestible, significantly reducing the intestinal discomfort that some mature people experience when consuming fiber. Want to implement this ancient technique into your modern routine? Here's a practical strategy. Before bed, place the desired amount of oats in a container with filtered water, in a ratio of 2 parts water to 1 part oats. Add a teaspoon of lemon juice or a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar for each cup of oats. The acidification of the medium enhances the activation of phytases. Cover and leave in the refrigerator overnight, 8 to 12 hours. In the morning, drain the water, rinse quickly, and prepare as usual. One tip that transformed my experience is to prepare the oats for the whole week, shares Geraldo. On Sundays, I prepare 5 servings in individual jars. After soaking, I drain, rinse, and store them in the refrigerator. Each morning, I just grab a jar and finish preparing it, saving time without sacrificing the benefits. Dr. Pinto adds an important observation. For those concerned about bone health, combining this preparation technique with the addition of foods rich in vitamin D, such as egg yolks or mushrooms, creates a perfect synergy, since vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption. This 5th choice, soaking oats before consumption, represents a return to the dietary wisdom of our ancestors, adapted to the context of modern life. It's a small investment of time that can yield big dividends for your mineral, digestive, and bone health in the golden years of life. In the next chapter, we will explore the 6th fundamental choice, the careful selection of the liquid used to prepare oats, a decision that directly impacts your inflammatory and immune health after age 55. When we think about preparing oats, we rarely give much thought to the liquid we use. Water, milk, plant-based milk? It seems like a trivial decision, but it represents our 6th fundamental choice, with surprisingly profound impacts on inflammation, immunity, and gut health, especially after age 55. It's like choosing the soil in which we plant a seed. The same seed can flourish or merely survive, depending on the terrain. Marcia Oliveira, 64, a psychologist from Recife, learned this lesson through her own experience. For years, I suffered from chronic joint pain and seasonal allergies that seemed to get worse with age. I took anti-inflammatory drugs almost daily, and my doctor was starting to worry about the long-term side effects, she reports. As part of her healthy diet, Marcia ate oats every day, prepared with whole milk enriched with calcium and vitamins, a choice she considered extremely nutritious. It was during a consultation with an immunologist that Marcia received an unexpected suggestion. The doctor asked about my eating habits, and when I mentioned my oatmeal with milk, he suggested a 30-day experiment, replacing cow's milk with filtered water or unsweetened plant-based milk, preferably almond or oat milk. I was skeptical. How could something so simple affect my joint pain? Dr. Juliana Barros, an immunologist and specialist in integrative medicine, explains the science behind this recommendation. After age 55, many people develop an increased sensitivity to components of cow's milk, especially casein and lactalbumin. This sensitivity often does not manifest as a classic allergy, but as low-grade inflammation, which can exacerbate conditions such as arthritis, chronic sinusitis, and even cognitive disorders. In addition, many industrialized milks contain additives, stabilizers, emulsifiers, and sugars that can disrupt the balance of the gut microbiota, the trillions of microorganisms that inhabit our intestines and play a crucial role in regulating inflammation and immunity. The gut is the epicenter of our immune system, housing approximately 70% of the body's defense cells, notes Dr. Paulo Henrique Santos, a gastroenterologist specializing in gut microbiota. After age 55, the composition of the microbiota naturally changes, becoming less diverse and more vulnerable to imbalances. At this stage, it is particularly important to choose foods that promote, rather than harm, gut health. Still skeptical, Marcia decided to try the recommendation for 30 days. I started preparing my oats with unsweetened almond milk that I made at home, which was extremely simple. Just almonds, water, and a pinch of salt. I alternated with days when I used only filtered water with a little cinnamon. At first, I missed the creamy taste of cow's milk, but soon my taste buds adapted. The result surprised even her doctor. In just 3 weeks, Marcia's joint pain decreased significantly, and for the first time in years, she went an entire month without needing anti-inflammatory medication. I couldn't believe that something as simple as changing the liquid in my oatmeal could have such a profound impact. My energy improved, my allergies decreased, and even my sleep became more restful. Recent studies from the Federal University of Pernambuco confirm that replacing dairy products with plant-based alternatives can reduce inflammatory markers by up to 30% in people with moderate sensitivity after just 60 days. It's not about demonizing cow's milk, which is nutritious for many people, explains Dr. Barrow. But it is important to recognize that after age 55, our digestive and immune systems undergo changes that can make certain foods less compatible with our individual biochemistry. But what is the ideal liquid for preparing oats after age 55? Dr. Roberto Mendez, a nutritionist specializing in healthy aging, offers an evidence-based hierarchy. First, filtered water is the most neutral and universally well-tolerated option. Add spices such as cinnamon, cardamom, or vanilla to compensate for the lack of creaminess. Second, homemade or commercial plant-based milks with no added sugar and a minimal list of ingredients, preferably almond, oat, or coconut. Almond milk is particularly beneficial for its vitamin E and anti-inflammatory fats. Third, for those who aren't sensitive, organic cow's milk, preferably A2 or fermented like kefir, which is more digestible and contains beneficial probiotics. Want to implement this choice into your routine? Here's a practical strategy. Try a 21-day elimination test. During this period, prepare your oats exclusively with filtered water or unsweetened plant-based milks, closely observing any changes in joint inflammation, allergies, sleep quality, energy, and digestion. After this period, reintroduce cow's milk for 3 consecutive days and note any reactions from your body. This simple test can reveal sensitivities you didn't even know you had. One tip that made my transition easier was learning how to make homemade almond milk, shares Marcia. It's surprisingly simple and much more economical than commercial versions. I soak a cup of almonds overnight, blend them with 3 cups of filtered water in the morning, strain through a fine cloth, and it's ready. The result is creamy, preservative-free, and I can control exactly what goes into my oatmeal. Dr. Barros adds an important note. To maximize the anti-inflammatory benefits, consider adding fresh grated or powdered turmeric to your plant-based milk, along with a pinch of black pepper, which increases the bioavailability of curcumin, the active compound in turmeric. This 6th choice, carefully selecting the liquid for preparing oats, represents a refinement in your eating strategy that honors the specific needs of the mature body. It's a decision that recognizes how seemingly small details can have a significant impact on quality of life after age 55. In the next chapter, we will explore the 7th and final fundamental choice, embracing the versatility of oats and varying how you prepare them, an approach that ensures nutritional diversity and maintains the pleasure of eating this superfood over the years. Eating the same food every day, even if it's healthy, is like reading only one chapter of an extraordinary book. This quote from renowned nutritionist Dr. Ana Teresa Motta perfectly sums up our 7th and final fundamental choice. Embrace the incredible versatility of oats and vary how you prepare them, because dietary monotony, in addition to boring the palate, drastically limits the spectrum of nutrients you consume, especially after age 55, when nutritional diversity becomes even more crucial. Pedro Almeida, 70, a retired university professor from Brasilia, faced this dilemma. When my doctor recommended eating oats daily for their heart benefits and glycemic control, I followed his advice to the letter. For 6 months, I religiously prepared the same bowl of oatmeal with milk every morning, he says. At first, I was motivated by the health benefits, but gradually, the monotony began to discourage. I started skipping days, then weeks. I was about to give up oatmeal completely when my daughter, a chef, intervened decisively. This is a more common situation than we might think. Dr. Marcelo Fontes, a neuropsychologist specializing in eating behavior, explains, our brain is programmed to seek novelty and variety. When we repeatedly consume the same food in the same way, we activate a mechanism called specific sensory habituation. Basically, our brain gets bored and starts signaling disinterest, regardless of the benefits that food provides. For people over 55, this phenomenon can be particularly harmful. Dr. Cristina Silveira, a gerontologist and researcher at the University of Brasilia, explains, with aging, changes naturally occur in our senses of taste and smell, with a reduction of up to 50% in the number of taste buds. This can lead to a decrease in the pleasure of eating, especially when associated with a monotonous diet. The result? Many older adults simply abandon nutritious foods because they find them unappealing, even though they know their benefits. In addition to the sensory issue, there is a solid biochemical basis for dietary variation. Each method of preparation and combination of ingredients releases different phytochemicals and alters the nutrient structure of oats, explains Dr. Ricardo Neves, a nutritional biochemist. For example, when you lightly toast oats before cooking them, you enhance their antioxidants. When you ferment them, You increase the bioavailability of certain minerals. When you combine it with acidic ingredients such as citrus fruits, it modifies the glycemic response. It's like having access to different benefits from the same food. Pedro's daughter, Isabel Almeida, a chef specializing in functional gastronomy, introduced her father to what she calls the infinite universe of oats. I showed him that oats can be much more than that basic breakfast porridge. It can be used as a base for savory pancakes, creamy risotto, homemade granola, smoothies, whole grain bread, and even healthy cookies. In 2 weeks, he went from discouraged to absolutely fascinated. 6 months later, Pedro not only resumed his daily consumption of oats, but became an enthusiast who shares recipes with his retired friends. I discovered that oats can be savory. My favorite dish right now is oat risotto with mushrooms, garlic, onion, and a drizzle of olive oil. I never imagined that the same grain I considered boring could be so versatile and tasty. This experience of rediscovery is backed by studies from the Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul, which have shown that people over 60 who consume the same nutrients through varied preparations have greater long-term adherence and better satisfaction with their diet compared to those who maintain a repetitive eating routine. Dr. Silveira adds, diversity in preparation is not just a matter of pleasure, but of metabolic health. By varying the forms of preparation and combination, you stimulate different metabolic pathways, promote a more diverse gut microbiota, and enhance the action of the nutraceuticals naturally present in oats. Want to implement this liberating strategy into your routine? Here's a practical plan. Challenge yourself to explore 7 different ways to prepare oats throughout the week. To make it easier, here are some suggestions. Monday, classic overnight oats with berries and cinnamon. Tuesday, oat smoothie with spinach, banana, and a touch of ginger. Wednesday, oat pancakes with peanut butter and banana. Thursday, savory risotto, oats with vegetables, fresh herbs, and olive oil. Friday, homemade granola baked with spices and a little honey. Saturday, oat cookies with 70% cocoa, dark chocolate chips. Sunday, creamy oatmeal with caramelized apples and walnuts. The secret is to prepare in advance, suggests Pedro. Every Sunday, I separate small portions of the ingredients I'll need during the week. That way, even at 70 and living alone, I can maintain variety without complications. Isabel, his daughter, shares a professional tip. To optimize time, prepare large batches of plain cooked oats without seasoning and freeze them in individual portions. That way, you have a ready-made base that can be quickly transformed into sweet or savory dishes during the week. Dr. Mata adds an important observation. By varying your preparations, you naturally include a wider range of other foods that accompany oats, further increasing their nutritional spectrum. It's like turning a talented soloist into a full orchestra of benefits. This 7th choice, embracing the versatility of oats and varying how you prepare them, represents the culmination of a journey of nutritional wisdom. It's the difference between simply surviving and truly thriving in maturity, turning every meal into an opportunity for nutrition, pleasure, and vitality. In the next few chapters, we'll explore how to integrate these 7 fundamental choices into a practical 28-day plan, transform your relationship with oats, and boost your health and longevity after age 55. Knowledge without application is like a book that is never open, full of potential, but with no real impact. This reflection by Dr. Paulo Monteiro, a neuroscientist specializing in habit formation, perfectly sums up the challenge many face: how to turn valuable information into consistent daily practices. Now that we have explored the 7 fundamental choices for maximizing the benefits of oats after age 55, it is time to integrate them into a practical step-by-step plan that respects the time needed to form new habits. Ana Lucia Campos, 61, a pharmacist from São Paulo, faced exactly this challenge. When I started researching healthy eating for longevity, I was fascinated by everything I learned about oats. I tried to implement all the recommendations at once: change the type of oats, soak them, control portions, eliminate sugar, vary the preparation. It was an avalanche of changes. Within 2 weeks, I was overwhelmed and back to my old habits, she says with a self-understanding smile. This experience is extremely common. Dr. Renata Souza, a behavioral psychologist specializing in habit change, explains, the human brain, especially after age 50, naturally resists multiple simultaneous changes. When we try to change several behaviors at once, we create a cognitive overload that virtually guarantees failure. The most effective approach is what we call cumulative microsteps, small sequential changes that add up over time. Studies from Stanford University show that the success rate for implementing new eating habits increases by up to 300% when changes are introduced gradually, one at a time, with at least 3 days of adaptation between each new implementation. It was through a consultation with a health coach that Ana Lucia discovered a smarter approach. He presented me with a 28-day plan, divided into 4 weeks, focusing on just 1 or 2 changes per week. The difference was impressive. This time, the changes became a natural part of my routine, without feeling like effort or deprivation. Dr. Fernando Queiroz, a specialist in lifestyle medicine, explains why this approach works so well, especially after age 55. As we age, our neural circuits for habit formation become less plastic, requiring more repetition to consolidate new behaviors. At the same time, our capacity for self-regulation, essentially our willpower, becomes more susceptible to depletion. A gradual plan respects these biological processes, working with the nature of the mature brain, not against it. Based on the successful experiences of hundreds of his mature patients, Dr. Queiroz has developed what he calls the 28-day oat revolution plan, a systematic approach to implementing the 7 fundamental choices that maximize the benefits of this superfood after age 55. Week 1, focus on choices 1 and 2. Days 1-3, start by cutting in half the sugar or sweetener you normally add to your oats, replacing it with half a mashed ripe banana or 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Days 4-7, introduce the gradual switch to less processed oats by mixing half of the oats you already consume with thick cut or traditional oats. Week 2, days 8-14, focus on choices 3 and 4. Days 8-10, start adding a protein source to your oats, as described in Chapter 4. Start with just a spoonful of Greek yogurt or a spoonful of peanut butter. Days 11-14. Introduce portion control by using a kitchen scale to measure precisely 40-50 gram of dry oats per serving. Week 3, days 15-21. Focus on choices, number 5 and number 6. Days 15-17. Start soaking your oats overnight in water with a few drops of lemon juice. Days 18-21. Try substituting the liquid you normally use to prepare them. If you usually use cow's milk, try filtered water or a plain, unsweetened plant-based milk. Week 4, days 22-28. Focus on choice 7. Days 22-24. Try your first variation in preparation, a different sweet version than usual. Days 25-28. Venture into a savory oatmeal preparation and plan your cycle of variations for the coming weeks. The secret to success is celebrating small steps, shares Ana Lucia. I created an oatmeal journal where I wrote down how I felt after each meal, the changes I noticed in my body and energy, and the new flavors I discovered. This record made visible the progress that might otherwise have gone unnoticed in my daily life. 3 months after implementing the 28-day plan, the benefits were clear. My LDL cholesterol dropped 23 points. My fasting blood sugar normalized. I lost 10 pounds without making any other dietary changes. And most impressive of all, the inflammation in my joints, which had bothered me for years, decreased significantly. My rheumatologist asked if I was taking any new medication. Dr. Cecilia Martins, a geriatrician at the Syrio-Libanese Hospital, is not surprised by these results. When we implement multiple synergistic nutritional interventions gradually and consistently, we create a positive cascade effect on inflammatory, metabolic, and cardiovascular markers. It's like a domino effect on health, where each small change enhances the next. For those who want to implement the 28-day plan, where Dr. Souza offers a key tip: customize the pace according to your own ability to adapt. Some people may need 5 or 6 days to get used to each change, rather than the 3 or 4 suggested in the standard plan. That's okay. The important thing is to respect your own pace and make sure each change becomes an automatic habit before introducing the next one. Ana Lucia, who now keeps all 7 key choices naturally incorporated into her routine, reflects: at 61, I've discovered that patience really is a virtue, especially when it comes to creating new habits. The gradual approach seemed slow at first, but it was precisely this respectful pace that ensured the changes became permanent. Today, I don't have to think about how to prepare my oats. Healthy choices have become as automatic as brushing my teeth. In the next and final chapter, we'll explore inspiring stories of transformation and longevity through oats, as well as a look at the future of this superfood in preventive medicine and the fight against accelerated aging. When small daily choices accumulate over time, the results can be truly extraordinary. Throughout this journey, we have explored 7 key decisions that transform the simple act of eating oats into a powerful longevity strategy after age 55. But the true power of these choices is revealed in the transformation stories of ordinary people who, like we, have decided to invest in their future health through simple yet profoundly impactful changes. Roberto Andrade, 74, a former banking executive from Rio de Janeiro, shares his remarkable journey. At 68, I received a devastating diagnosis: advanced type 2 diabetes, uncontrolled blood pressure, and early heart failure. My cardiologist was blunt: if you don't radically change your habits, you won't see your grandchildren graduate from college. Those words were a turning point for Roberto, who decided he would not accept that prognosis as his final destination. Among the many changes he made to his routine, oats became a cornerstone. I methodically implemented the 7 choices that maximize their benefits. At first, it seemed like a small thing, given the seriousness of my condition, but my doctor explained that consistency in small daily actions often produces more significant results than dramatic one-time interventions. 6 years later, the results speak for themselves. My diabetes is completely under control with diet and exercise alone, without medication. My blood pressure has normalized, and heart tests show an impressive improvement in my heart function. At my last appointment, my doctor joked, "If I didn't know your history, I'd say I was examining a 60-year-old man, not a 74-year-old. And the most rewarding part? Not only have I seen my grandchildren go to college, but I have the energy to play tennis with them on the weekends. Roberto's story is not an isolated case. Dr. Elisa Weintraub, coordinator of the largest Brazilian study on nutrition and longevity, followed more than 1,200 adults over the age of 55 for a decade. The data is unequivocal. Participants who consumed oats regularly, following principles similar to the 7 habits we discussed, had a 27% reduction in overall cardiovascular risk, a 23% lower incidence of type 2 diabetes, and significantly better preservation of cognitive function compared to the control group. Even more impressive, the study documented a direct correlation between the number of optimized choices implemented and the benefits obtained. It's not a matter of simply eating oats in any way, emphasizes Dr. Weintraub. Each of the 7 fundamental choices independently and synergistically enhances the benefits of this food. Participants who implemented all 7 practices showed results up to 3 times higher than those who simply included oats in their diet without optimizing their preparation and consumption. Looking ahead, Dr. Enrique Matos, a researcher at the Center for Aging Studies at USP, reveals promising trends. We are just beginning to understand the potential of oats as a nutraceutical intervention in combating cellular aging. Recent research suggests that the bioactive compounds present in oats, especially avenanthramides and specific beta-glucans, may directly influence metabolic pathways associated with longevity, including the activation of sirtuins and the modulation of cellular autophagy. In practical terms, this means that humble oats are becoming an increasingly valued component in medical protocols for the prevention and treatment of conditions associated with aging. There are already longevity clinics in Europe and the United States that prescribe specific oat consumption protocols as part of integrative treatments, reveals Dr. Matos. Brazil is beginning to follow this trend, with progressive doctors recognizing that optimized nutrition, including strategic consumption of oats, can be as effective as, or more effective than many pharmacological interventions without the side effects. Helena Martins, 67, a retired teacher from Fortaleza, exemplifies the impact of these findings in real life. When I turned 60, I decided I wanted to live my golden years with real quality. I implemented the 7 oat choices as part of a larger health strategy. Today, at 67, I surf, travel alone to destinations that require long walks, and recently completed my first triathlon in the senior category. My friends always ask me what my secret is, and I reply, there is no magic pill, but there are powerful daily choices, and optimized oats are one of them. How can you implement all this knowledge into your life in a practical and sustainable way? Dr. Sandra Rocha, an integrative physician specializing in longevity, suggests a simple approach. Start by printing out a short list of the 7 key choices and stick it on your refrigerator door. Each week, choose one practice to implement or refine. In less than 2 months, you'll have incorporated all of them into your routine, creating a solid foundation for decades of improved health. For those who have already implemented the 7 basic choices, the next level involves synchronizing oats with your circadian rhythm. Emerging research suggests that the same food can have different metabolic effects depending on the time of day it is consumed, explains Dr. Ricardo Montenegro, a chronobiologist. For most mature individuals, consuming oats in the early morning hours maximizes their benefits for glucose metabolism, while a small serving in the early evening can promote better sleep quality due to their natural melatonin and tryptophan content. As we reach the end of this journey, it is worth reflecting on a profound truth. True longevity is not measured solely in years of life, but in life in years. The 7 fundamental choices we have explored are not just strategies for extending your time in this world, but for ensuring that each day is lived with vitality, mental clarity, and functional independence. As Roberto, at 74, poetically sums it up, when I implemented these changes, my goal was simply to live longer. What I discovered along the way was much more valuable. I learned to live better. Oats are not just a food in my diet. They are a daily reminder that small choices, made consistently and wisely, have the power to rewrite the destiny we believed to be inevitable. May this journey through the 7 fundamental choices of oats be just the beginning of your own story of transformation and vitality. Because, as Helena, Roberto, and so many others have shown, it's never too late to plant the seeds of a healthier future, one breakfast at a time.